Hello, friends. I'm Larry with Rides Done Right. I'm at the Salem Roadster show with Bud Wolfe. Bud, it's nice to see you again.
How are you, Larry? Nice to see you.
I'm doing good. You have a beautiful car. We saw this thing the first time at the Northwest Rotorama. I think it was when we first met, and we were doing your Edsel.
Correct.
And this thing was in the background. It's funny. We did the Edsel, and then when I see this thing sitting here this year, it's like we got to do this car. Why don't you tell me about the car?
Oh, it's a 1934 Ford. It's been chopped and channeled. It's got a 32 grill. It's a 302 with Y-block valve covers and tri-power, and it's just got a C4 automatic and a Dutchman quick change rear end from Portland. The interior is just 59 Thunderbird bucket seats that sit flat on the floor because of the chop and the channel. It's not the easiest thing in the world to drive, but it's sure fun.
And it looks good. The seats look great in there too.
They fit pretty well.
How long have you had this car, Bud?
Since I was 14, April of 1962. Yeah.
So this is the car then that kind of started it all for you.
Yes, correct. Actually, was my second car. My dad gave me a 53 Mercury, and I messed with it in the field and did a little body work and what have you on it. And my dad had always been into hot rods. He had a yellow 32 chop and channel coupe, and I always remember that. And one Sunday actually, looking through the paper for cars, I stumbled upon this thing that was advertised by Lucky Towing for the storage owed against it. Went and looked at it with my dad, and we bought it.
This story just blows me away. So when I look at the car then, you must be responsible for really everything that's been done to this car, because it certainly wasn't in anywhere near any of this kind of condition when you got it.
No, it had been drag raced before I got it, and the inner frame was bent. The body was welded to the frame. The frame was rigid to the rear end housing. It had a Pontiac 411 rear end in it. I ended up having to take the body off of it, redo the quarter panels, and put a new frame under, a different frame. I bought another frame for $20 from a guy who redid the cross members and mounted the motor and transmission rear end, and I did everything on it except the paint and upholstery.
And how much of it did you start, you've had that car since you were that young. How much of these modifications did you start right off the bat, or did it sit for a while before you started doing them? Or?
Well, it had to sit for like 8 months, because when I bought the car, I had just broken my leg playing football. So I was in a cast and I could do very little. And it got going about 8 months after I bought the car. And I started doing everything. I bought a motor out of Rollins Wrecking Yard, started mounting the motor in the new frame that I had bought, and it just kept going from there, little by little. I drove it to high school in 65 and 66, and then Navy called, and it sat for a long time until my kids got through college and what have you, and then we started putting it back together.
Now, Bud, you've had a lot of cars, and really nice ones, and at some point in your life we all get to that point where we're doing better financially and we can do things that we want to do. And knowing your other cars, I bet there had to have been a point in this car's history with you that you said, okay, I can go to the next level with this thing. And did you take it to that next level all at one time? It's like you did kind of with your other cars, or?
Yeah, pretty much. In 90, I started working on it again in 91 when my daughter graduated from high school. And we, like you said, doing a little better money-wise financially. I decided to redo the frame again, better cross members, a better rear end setup. And it was more fun because I wasn't scraping nickels and dimes to put a motor together like I did when I was 15, or a $20 frame that you had to redo the X members and the front cross member to get the stance right. it was just a little more fun because you had the money to do it with. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it took a little bit.
Well, I like these cars, and this car particularly is really, really done right. Was the car always red, or did you at some point decide you were going to change it to red? You know,
It was candy apple red when I got it, but it was pretty rough shape. I still have the windows from the old from the rear windows with the old racing decals on them, and they're half gone now. But the body was it was structurally there. Let me back up. It was not structural at all. It had no floorboards in it because when they had stripped it, whoever stole it and stripped it, just yarded everything out apparently as fast as they could and then dumped the body. So I had to square the body up and put floorboards in it. And from that got the body back rigid and was basically the foundation to take off and get the body back in shape to paint, because it was just so rough for being a drag car.
well, it turned out good, and I know we're happy to see it. So, and I really appreciate your time doing this with us again, Bob. But you bet. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, guys.